Well, let's leave it to Bakugo to basically have a 4-0 victory against Class B. I mean, it's to be expected. I mean, every time we've seen Bakugo, it's clear as day that the individual, him as a character, he's very gifted. He's very strong. He is someone that you cannot really think is weak. I mean, nobody really ever has, but I mean, it's still a point. Bakugo is really demonstrating just how much he has changed within this chapter. We as the audience, readers, and, anime watchers, we've known for a while that Bakugo has changed. I mean, with the events at the end of Season 3 of the anime to what we have seen throughout the manga, we know Bakugo has changed considerably since his origins when the series first began, and it's why he's honestly one of my favorite characters in My Hero Academia, and why many people love him, and it's also the reason to why he's always dominating in the character polls and always pretty much winning, because he's just such a fantastic character and how much he truly has changed. So let's get into that. Within this chapter, it's very small, it's very subtle. Well, it's actually not really subtle, but it's something that really just goes to show that many don't really comprehend how much Bakugo has changed. The only way you can really know is if you are a part of his class. If you've been with him day after day, then you will notice these things. But if you're someone that is on the outside and you see how his personality is, you're not really going to understand how much Bakugo has changed. He still has that same angry personality, wanting to say these awful things to people. He says awful things to his classmates. He is definitely not a calm guy. I mean, when you look at Bakugo in this chapter, if you was to compare him to the first chapters of the series, if you didn't really know what he went through and all that, and had certain dialogue that basically said how much he changed, you would think he's the same character, that he's still a jerk, someone that just yells things and he doesn't think or whatever. That's what you would assume, but he's always fought, but many assume that at the start of the series. But that's the quality of Bakugo's character. You underestimate him. Even though he is a powerhouse, even though he obviously can easily compete with high-level players in this world, it's very clear that many underestimate him, thinking that he might not be intelligent, might, be too angry and not focus on what's going on around him, be blinded by his anger, or he's not able to have proper bonds or connections with people, or people are not able to put faith in him because of how he acts. And so people constantly underestimate Bakugo, not really comprehending what makes him so scary or how much he has changed. I mean, let's go back to the events in, Season 3 of the anime of My Hero Academia, and how the League of Villains, when they kidnapped Bakugo, they were under the impression that he would become a villain. Because when you look at his personality from the outside, he is a guy that's very violent. He seems like, he's constantly being, oppressed by society, and he's not able to do what he wants. But that really isn't the case. Bakugo as a character, if he wasn't a good guy, he wouldn't act like he is, because of what he believes and how he believes in All Might, wanting to surpass All Might. He wouldn't act like he did if, he was going to become a villain. So I just love how constantly we see people underestimating Bakugo, because he is someone that he really outsmarts you, and he's someone you would assume would be a bad guy, but he really isn't deep down. I mean, let's look what he did in this chapter. He straight up told everybody a part of his team, yes, he called them losers, but he's like, if I get in trouble, you all better save me. You better save me. I'll save all of you. Don't worry about that. I'll make sure you guys are fine. But if I get in trouble, save me. Get me out of trouble. And we get to see that demonstrated within this chapter, which I appreciate a lot. This really just shows how much Bakugo has changed. Because, let's back up for a second. Bakugo in the past, even in Season 2 and portions of Season 3, it was a big issue he had actually kind of in Season 3. He is someone that doesn't want help. I mean, remember what Izuku said in, Season 3? He's like, I can't be the one to save Bakugo. He wouldn't want my help, regardless of what situation he's in. But you can see he has changed. He is someone that has changed for the better. He's willing to accept help. He's willing to do that. He's not thinking that he can handle everything by himself. Even though he has a rotten attitude, he realizes he needs people to be able to get things done. And with him saying what he said to, Jiro and all of them, it speaks volumes about his character, and it's why I love him. Love him as a character. He's just so freaking good. But point is that him saying that, it's understandable why everybody was thrown off. like, why Class B was thrown off and not really knowing how to handle it. They're like, whoa, you've changed so much, and they freaked out. Bakugo basically annihilated the entire team. Everybody got captured, and it was a 4-0 win against Class B. It's impressive. I'm really happy to see Bakugo able to continue with what he said. Like, he wanted to have that victory. He got that victory, which puts Class A in the lead. I just really love Bakugo. But okay. Anyways, this chapter, once again, is very short. It's 14 pages. And not to say the same thing I've been saying for a while now, for months technically, it does mean that this chapter is very short, and there's not really a whole lot to talk about. However, there was something interesting I saw someone mention, which, I want to bring up. A couple of individuals were telling me in the comments section these past couple weeks, like, Chibi, these chapters being as short as they are, 14 to 13 pages, is actually a good thing. And I was like, how is that a good thing? I mean, it's concerning for Horikoshi, but also less content means that you're not really getting to see so much in one given chapter, because normally they have about 17 to 18 pages. And I'm like, how is it better? Well, someone told me, like, look, Chibi, the reason why it's better is because with the way this arc is structured, the way it's having all these side characters getting the spotlight, having 14-page chapters, it feels like it's very quick-paced. Like, it's not like a crazy amount of pages, for this arc. It's just, there's enough pages to be able to give enough spotlight to these characters and make it short and sweet, and that is what's been going on. For instance, when you think about these chapters in the grand scheme, 14-page chapters really isn't that large, and especially with all these characters and all the spotlight, Horikoshi is very impressive to give as much detail as he's had done already in this arc, with just a short amount of pages. But the art quality obviously is very good. I mean, let's not even begin to talk about how beautiful the art was in this chapter, like the Bakugo expressions and all of that. I really love the artwork, but it's one of the big reasons why I've been loving this arc. It's just, even though there's a lack of pages, the artwork has been very good. So, let's talk about Setsuna for a second. So, Setsuna, we get to have a little bit more clarification about her quirk ability. So, apparently, Setsuna does have regenerative properties. Now, it's not fully dived into once again, but it's stated that she can regenerate, but it puts a toll on her body. For instance, when she is regenerating, she gets into a state like Momo, to where she really can't move, or she's very weakened, or whatever. That's pretty much. It's a very similar state, and so it's kind of like, she needs to be protected in that moment, and that is when Bakugo decided to strike. He attacked her while she was regenerating, and then we know the rest. Basically, she fell, and, Class A won the match. But, yeah, I do like the clarification to Setsuna's quirk. I mean, I would love more details, especially with all the build-up, but I guess that's what to expect with someone like Bakugo that has put a lot of time and effort to improve himself and be a good person and the #1 hero. I mean, if he's trying to be the #1 hero, someone like Setsuna and all the others at Class B shouldn't be able to really slow him down. I mean, when we really think about it, he was competing with Izuku a while back in Season 3, which we know at that time Izuku, he was pretty strong. I mean, he's learned a lot since then. He's gotten a lot more powerful. But even then, though, Bakugo was impressive. He technically did beat Izuku. And he was using All Might's power, one for all. So, Bakugo is a very strong individual. If he continues to push himself, I feel like, it's actually going to be the other way around, and Izuku's constantly going to be chasing the back of Bakugo, instead of Bakugo chasing the back of Izuku, which is very refreshing, by the way. I'm so sick and tired of shonen series having the MC always in the lead, and the other characters are having to struggle to keep up. I'm thinking of Dragon Ball Z in my mind as I say that. I'm just glad to see that Izuku is having to constantly improve, but he also is very aware of how much time and effort Bakugo has put into his training. I mean, that whole scene with Izuku being very silent and just looking at Bakugo speaks volumes about the relationship and how Izuku really knows how Bakugo is. Now, speaking of characters, let's talk about Jiro. Jiro had a little bit of an upgrade to her costume. I don't know if it's actually been established before. If it has, forgive me, correct me in the comments below. But there was a brief panel within this chapter where Jiro has little attachments to her earplugs, and she amplifies her sound to be able to have multiple attacks all the way around her, which is very impressive. I really like to see that upgrade to Jiro. I hope one day she has a little bit more attachments, like a Bluetooth headset or something. It'd be pretty funny to see her using her, earphones to actually just connect into other little electronics to really do some crazy stuff. I hope something like that happens, but I do like the little application to her quirk within this chapter. It's cute, it's cool, and I just love how, you know, Jiro once again is really improving as an individual, and once again she isn't weak as well. Speaking of individuals, Sato. Sato had a really good moment. And honestly, Sato doesn't have a lot of good moments. I'm not saying he's a bad character. I'm just saying out of a lot of characters in Class A, Sato is definitely one of those individuals that doesn't get spotlight. He doesn't. Not even dialogue, honestly. One of the most character-defining moments he's gotten was the cake scene. So, seeing him actually save Bakugo in this chapter, it shows that Sato isn't weak, which he's never really been weak to begin with. I mean, when you think about how his quirk is, eating sugar to amplify his power, that's strong. That really is. I mean, yes, the side effect's bad where he doesn't think right, but even then, if he can somehow figure out how to cope with that and continuously consume sugar, in theory, if nothing negative really happens to his body permanently, he technically could be able to compete with Izuku. Or even get stronger than him. Who really knows? I'm just saying, I'm glad to see Sato getting some spotlight in this chapter. I wish Zero would have got a little bit more, you know, spotlight, but it is what it is. That's what happens. I mean, Zero has had a lot of character development, and he's had a lot of spotlight in other arcs, so I do think that it's nice to see Sato, at the very least, have the spotlight instead of just Zero. But I want to end it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, you know, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.